Ray Millspaw here with my Forever Young Summit series, and I have Dr. Lori Shemek with me today from Texas. She is the founder and president of DLS HealthWorks. She's a health expert, author, weight loss specialist, and professional speaker. She's appeared on numerous top radio talk shows as well as TV. She's been featured in Ladies Home Journal, Shape Magazine, Women's Day Magazine, Health Magazine, iVillage, Yahoo, Live Strong, CNN, Fox News, and the Ricky Lake Show. How cool is that? So that's who we have in my hot seat today, guys. Hi, Lori. How you doing?
Hi there. How are you, Carrie?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Thank you for
Good, good.
sharing your nature behind you today with us.
You are so welcome, and really, it's an honor to be here. So thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I want to know, and I always start off my series this way, is how did you get involved in this industry? Kind of give us a little background of Lori.
Well, when I was a little girl, and it's not really not that long a story, I was raised by a single mother, and I had two younger brothers. And my mother was sick most of her life with one thing or another. There was always something wrong with her health. And so because of that, most of the care had been delegated to me. So I was in charge of taking care of my two younger brothers. And she, was a great example of somebody who felt like this was her lot in life. Okay, I remember walking into her bedroom in this dark room, and she'd just be laying there, and I just felt so helpless as a young girl. And so I was always interested in health. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. But trust me, I didn't always make the healthiest choices. But nonetheless, I was. And so I tried to get my mother to eat healthier and to just be, feel better. And yet she didn't. And she continued to smoke heavily. She continued to eat sugar consistently throughout the day. She was doing everything I knew was just the opposite of what she should be doing. So it was, I intuitively knew, even as a young girl, that she really could make other choices. And so one day, I remember walking into her bedroom, and there on her dresser was a bottle of vitamins. And I went, she got it. She finally got it. My mom is starting to take care of herself, and so I walked out of that room happy as could be, and every day I'd walk into that room and check to see if she'd take those vitamins, and she never did. And so because of her health choices, because her lifestyle choices, which included enormous stress, you can imagine not having any income at all with three children, and her illnesses, and much more. She died at the very young age of 36, and so because of her, I decided when I was old enough to go to school that I would make sure that everyone knew that they had choice in life, and everybody does have choice in life. And so I initially went into the helping profession of psychology and counseling, and then later decided I would go combine my two loves, which was nutrition, health, and helping others with a better mindset. So
Thank you for
that's
sharing that. That's that's
welcome.
you really, really ungodly young age to die,
Oh,
sadly.
no.
Sadly.
And yeah. And and the sad part is that she could have made other choices. And there are a lot of people out there just like her that say, you know what? I don't have any other options. I just don't. So I'm going to self-medicate. I'm going to continue to eat the sugar because it feels good when I do it for a little bit, and then the self-loathing happens, and and the enormous stress people are under without taking care of all those lifestyle issues, really, then they end up very ill at some point, or ill.
Now, you went into psychology, you went down that path, which I find to be interesting. Was it because was your mom had any mental challenges as well, or anything that caused that?
No, not at all. What it was I felt like I could help people better. I wasn't even thinking about at that point going into the health industry at all. Even though I had a huge interest in it. Tell me anything was healthy and I'd be all over it, you know. But she, because I knew, and she didn't. You know, I tried to convey that to her in my little way, but she just felt like she couldn't. So I made the decision that because of her, to go into the helping profession, which was psychology. So that was my impetus.
Well, that's a great why to have. You know, everyone's got a purpose and to pull from that. And kind of in your mom's
Right.
name. You know, and her parents are very influential. It was when my dad had a 6 bypass when I was 21. So that kind of made me aware, like, wait a minute, I don't want the same destiny. You know, I need
Wake
to
up
make
call,
changes.
right?
Yes, all of
Yeah.
us had a quick wake
Yeah.
up call.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happens for a reason. Sometimes, you know, I really don't want our audience to think it has to get to that. You can make good
Mm-hmm.
choices now. You don't have to wait until you
That's
get that
right. Yeah.
hospital visit, unfortunately, or a trip to the ER. But kind of, since you're talking about sugar, I want to start down that path. A lot of us think, and I'm thinking like the average female out there, working mom and so on, that thinks, okay, well, I don't want sugar because it'll make me fat, but there's so much more to sugar than that. So can you go a little deeper into why sugar is a bad thing?
Yes, I will. Sugar is a man-made product for one, and even if it's a natural product, it can be problematic, okay? And the reason is, there's a couple of reasons, and one big reason is because the majority of Americans are addicted to sugar, okay? That is a fact. And we now know that sugar is literally addictive as cocaine and morphine, for example. And but we all knew that. And so what happens is that we have Americans walking around, 75% of Americans walking around with low-level inflammation, and in part due to the excess sugar and carbohydrate intake. Every day, Americans are consuming 47 teaspoons of sugar, okay? They're consuming 156 pounds of sugar a year. And that statistic is staggering. And so it needs to be changed. Things are changing. I just read the day before yesterday that WHO is recommending that globally people cut their sugar intake in half. Now, my recommendation is not in half. It's still, they have a long way to go. But nonetheless, it's inflammatory. It is the number one inflammatory food, if you can call it that. When you ingest sugar, there is a chemical reaction that occurs. And we have, just like foods that are fried, for example, proteins and sugar circulating throughout our body. And when those two come together, they create a chemical reaction called glycation. And if you think of, for example, those fried potatoes on the stove, that is a great example. It's caramelization of your bodily tissue. And when that happens, you're degrading the actual tissue. You're stiffening it. You're changing its structure. So, for example, people who eat sugar tend to show age quicker because it affects their skin. Our skin, protein, the collagen is the protein, the sugar is attached to the collagen, and then you have this glycating effect, the caramelization of our bodily tissue. So that's one thing. And by the way, it doesn't happen just in our skin. It happens throughout the body. So, for example, heart disease, you had mentioned with your father earlier, you want flexible arteries. Well, if you're ingesting a lot of sugar, you are then creating that glycating effect in the body, and you're stiffening those arteries, and you really want flexible arteries, right? You want a flexible heart. And so also sugar makes cholesterol sticky, literally. So we have this sticky, gooey stuff circulating throughout our blood system. And I could go on. I mean, there are hundreds of reasons that we shouldn't be eating sugar. It depresses our immune system. It's acidic, and when you're more acidic, you create more. You are creating you're a better host, if you will, for disease, and it goes on and on. So you think about sugar when you eat it, think about the inflammation effect, okay? Low-level inflammation, or silent inflammation, is the core cause of most illness, disease, and faster aging, and weight gain. And so knowing all of that, it's very important to think about it before you put that sugar in your mouth. Now, I know what it's like to be addicted to sugar. When I was in school, I was addicted to sugar, and not very long, but enough to say, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't right, something's wrong. It's because every day I had to have some sugar of some sort, but you can get off it very easily, and if you do, you're going to prevent blood sugar spikes, you're going to prevent the super spike, and the super drop is creating inflammation down the road. It's an excess of insulin circulating throughout the body means that your cells are not sensitive at some point, will not be sensitive to the insulin's effect, insulin bringing the sugar into the cell's effect. So you can look at insulin like a Pac-Man. It likes to gobble up the sugar in your bloodstream and bring it to the cell for energy at a later time. Well, if somebody's eating sugar excessively, which most people do, there's this constant triggering of insulin. And so that means that insulin's always knocking on the cell's door, which means the cell's getting a little irritated with all that knocking and eventually ignores insulin, okay? So insulin goes away and continues to circulate throughout the body, and sugar continues to circulate throughout the body. You're creating inflammation, you're creating the glycation I was talking about, and a whole host of other illnesses, potential illnesses down the road. So that's the lovely story on sugar.
Well, at least you didn't just give us bad news. You said there's hope too. So
yes, there is.
Well, was it 47 teaspoons a day?
7 teaspoons a day.
Can you imagine if you were to just literally put teaspoons of sugar in your mouth? I mean, that would make you aware.
That's exactly what I tell people, right? Yeah. So you envision, now you think about one soda has 10 to 15 teaspoons of sugar in it, right? You think about sitting down and eating 10 to 15 teaspoons of sugar, granulated sugar, and so really, now a lot of this isn't the person's fault because a lot of the sugar is hidden, and it's hidden in almost every product, salad dressings, ketchup, everything that the food manufacturers know that we love sugar, okay? So they're standing there, they're waiting there, they're saying, come on in, come in, and we do. So they add it to foods. They add it to soups. They add it to chicken broth. They add it to, it's not just about cakes and candy. Even so-called healthy whole grain bread has 4 teaspoons of sugar per slice in it. So it's very important to read labels. And when you do, and you stop ingesting all that sugar in your body, you won't believe how much energy you have. You won't believe how much better your skin looks, how much better you look. It is amazing.
I know we think we need sugar for energy and caffeine
right.
and all those other wonderful things, and it's just the opposite. Cut it out
right.
and watch you explode.
Right. It is just the opposite, yeah.
I love doing cleanses with my clients in those first few weeks. They're like, wow, I just cleaned my whole house. I don't know where this is coming
amazing,
from.
Right? The energy?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can stop, when you stop the 4-letter C word that ends with a P, ingestion, your life literally changes because then you have all of this energy to create, you're literally aging backwards, if you will, because you're stopping that glycation I talked about earlier. You have more energy to move your body, and moving your body is very important, and I'll tell you why later when it comes to that. But it's everything in your life changes, your mindset. In fact, sugar stops the production of a very important protein in our brain called BDNF, and it's brain-derived neurotropic factor. And I know it's a mouthful, but just know that when you ingest this, you're diminishing the output of it. And when that happens, you're also that this also means that that it's affecting an area of the brain that's very important for learning and memory. Very important. So, and mood too. It affects your moods as well. So sugar and I'm talking about also all highly refined carbohydrates affect your brain.
So bottom line is sugar makes us stupid is what you're saying.
Fat.
In
So,
such a nice way.
In terms of the fat part of it, okay, the fat part of it is important too, because when you ingest sugar, for example, or any other type of inflammatory food, you are essentially creating fat. You're throwing out these inflammatory molecules, and that means you're slowing down your metabolism, which means you're putting on weight, which means you then put out more of these inflammatory molecules. And especially in our midsection, our fat cells are like little factories. They like to spew out these inflammatory molecules, really. And so the goal then, in terms of aging more youthfully, is to reduce that inflammatory output of molecules, because that doesn't just affect the weight gain, it affects other areas of your health.
You've been saying inflammatory, and I want to make sure our audience knows what you're talking about. That might be a word they're not familiar with. Explain what exactly that means.
Sure. In inflammation, there are three types of inflammation. Okay, the first type is very important, and all three are immune system related. So the first type is called acute inflammation, and it's not so cute because it hurts and it's ugly and it's swollen and it's like that black and blue sprained ankle, or that severe sunburn, or that head cold, or anything that you've injured, a cut on your hand. That means simply that your body is rushing to that site, and there's a lot of inflammatory molecules happening to heal the site. Okay, when that site has been healed, the inflammation goes away, and so do the inflammatory molecules stop. And so that's a very important part of our immune system, because without it, we're sitting ducks, really. We wouldn't be here. Then the next type of inflammation is called silent or chronic inflammation. And this type of inflammation is there, and it's lurking there 24/7, unbeknownst to most people. Like I mentioned earlier, 75% of all Americans are walking around with this type of inflammation, and they don't even know it, okay? That's how insidious this is. So lifestyle choices are very important in this. For example, remember John Candy, the actor who died of a massive heart? He was just a beloved movie actor. He died of silent inflammation, and James Gandolfini is another example of this. So what it is essentially is it's injury to tissues throughout the body, okay, that are below the threshold of perception. And so if you think about acute inflammation, where it's 40 times greater than the expression of inflammatory molecules, then low-level inflammation, the silent inflammation, you can see the difference in terms of where one would be, it's yelling at you, it's like, I'm here, I hurt. The other, you can't feel until the symptoms appear down the road. And when that happens, we've got something underway.
So what are those symptoms, Lori?
Yeah, and then the third type of inflammation is called fatflammation. And fatflammation is a special type of inflammation that is a core cause of weight gain. And you remember I said that fat cells put on create this weight gain due to the expression of inflammatory molecules. And it's something that can be reversed, and it is, if not taken care of early or at some point, will result in not just one inflammatory conditions such as silent inflammation, but it will result in, say, a cluster of them. So you might have silent inflammation, heart disease, and high blood pressure all at the same time.
Very interesting. And all of
Yes.
this could be avoided with a better diet.
Right. And that's the key component to creating optimal health. And a lot of people think that, well, I have this disease, there's no use, just like my mother. You know, I've got this, I have that. It's what's the point? Well, everything is inflammation. Almost everything is related to inflammation. If you remember, I said most illness, disease, and faster aging is. And so it's very important to know that we have 80 to 90% control in the outcome of our health. The science of epigenetics has shown that we do. So when they were studying the Human Genome Project, they found out that, you know, our genes aren't set in stone like we thought. There is a percentage, such as the color of our eyes and our hair, etc., that are set in stone. But everything else is simply little chemicals that attach and mix with each other and connect with each other and are creating changes outside the gene. And those changes are affected environmentally. For example, what we put in our mouth immediately can create an epigenetic change, which is very important to know that you have that kind of control in the outcome of your health.
It's empowering that you don't have to be that destination of, you know, your parents' health and your ancestors' health.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you can actually do something about it. So we want to cut down on inflammation. Sugar is a big no-no. I think step one obviously is to be aware of how much we're eating. That's the scary thing, and where it's hidden. Because some people think, well, I didn't have any sweets today. Oh, yes, you did.
You don't even know it.
Yeah,
Right.
did you check your yogurt label?
Very good. Yes. Yeah. Those yogurts have more sugar than a candy bar sometimes.
Yes, yes.
You know?
Can be ugly.
Yeah.
So what else causes inflammation, Lori? What else can we avoid to help ourselves?
Well, I would, you know, one important component to reducing inflammation is drinking water. A lot of people are mildly dehydrated and they don't even know it, and it's contributing to this low-level inflammation. So if you think about our bodies are mostly water, right? In fact, they're almost 70% water. Then you know that water is very important for our overall health. And if you also know that every process in the human body requires water, then you can see how vital it is. So the symptoms of mild dehydration are very common, and people think that this is just part of their day. So if they're feeling a little fatigued in the afternoon, they might think, I'm just tired. So what do? They go and they drink a caffeinated Coke or some coffee and a sugar something, and to raise that blood sugar level, right? So that is a problem for a lot of people. They're feeling tired. They can't think clearly. They have foggy thinking. They are gaining weight, or they're hungry, or they have joint pain. And so a lot of these common symptoms are directly related in 99.9% of the cases to a lack of water. So if you're craving something, I tell my clients immediately drink a glass of water, wait 5 minutes, and watch that craving go away. And guess what? The craving goes away in all cases. So a lot of people don't realize that they're not drinking enough water. And I understand that we all get busy, and it happens to me. But if you keep your water bottle in front of you, you will be more successful. You know, put an alarm on your computer, put an alarm on your phone, write sticky notes, anything you can do they even have apps for water drinking. Anything you can do to remember to drink your water, because it's vital. Now, if you're not drinking enough water, and I'm just talking about mild dehydration, you're going to gain weight. And that's because when you're not drinking enough water, your cellular function slows down. And when that happens, so does your metabolism. So, have you ever gone to the refrigerator? I know I've done this. I've opened up the door and I've stood there and I went, what do I want? I'm hungry for something. I just can't figure out what it is. Well, that's a sign you're mildly dehydrated, probably. So, again, go drink some water and then see what happens.
You just described my daughter. I think I'll just use that on her. I think she's just bored.
Yeah, or bored, right? That's true.
But you're right. Your body's telling you something. You're just not getting the signals right, and you're
Right.
searching. It's telling you, help. I need something.
Right, and the brain confuses thirst for hunger. So when you're mildly dehydrated, your brain's saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. It's just confused. So give it a try
That's a
for our
great tip.
audience.
Great
Yeah.
tip. So there's an app for everything these days. You can
Yes,
even get one for your water.
yes, there is everything.
That's
And
awesome.
water, you know, is very important in terms of aging youthfully, okay? Without it, you're going to have dehydrated skin, and your skin on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside. So think about that too, in terms of drinking water.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very hydrated. I live in the desert, so I need all the water I can get.
that's true, right? Yeah, your environment's dry.
Yes, I think I wake up like more dehydrated than the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news. And just kind of to give some people a few tips of, besides the app, of course, that's a great tip. Um, there's those people that are like, I just don't like the taste of water. I just don't want to. I mean, what's the stepping stone to get them? They know in their head they're supposed to drink it. They know that the soda's bad, but getting them over that hurdle to a better lifestyle choice.
Right. Now, if they just take the time to slice up some oranges, some lemons, you know, slice up some berries, even cucumber, changes the taste of the water, but it doesn't affect the purity and how your kidneys process it. So it's always important to remember to not try to put anything in your water to make you drink it, because your kidneys still have to process those compounds out. So if you're using, say, for example, Crystal Light to get you to drink the water, transition over as soon as you can, to flavored waters with fruits and berries, because that's going to give you more of a healthful hydration, if you will, than if you were just to go to the straight, you know, Crystal Light type of thing.
Yeah, there's so many water flavorings out there, and
Hmm.
I want you to squirt something in your bottle
Right.
over and over again.
To make you drink it, right?
Yep, I
Yeah.
like that transformation too. Lemons, citrus, something natural in there too, just to get people weaned off of needing any flavor in their water
Right.
altogether. So it's a good
Yes.
stepping stone.
Yeah, pure water is your best bet. It
Yes,
really is.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's easier to get used to drinking it than people realize. Um, Even putting like a straw in a cup sometimes, because if you're working with your computer all day, just drinking out of a straw is quicker and easier than without thinking about it. But yeah, like you
Right.
said, keep it by you.
And that's a great point you made, because when you start drinking water, and if it's good water you're drinking, you're going to want more of it. Once you get over that mild dehydration threshold, if you will, that tipping point, you're going to start craving water, because water, our bodies, it's required, like I said, for every process in the human body. And so once it has it, your brain starts to say, oh, that's right. And it doesn't really get used to that mild dehydrated state, okay? So just remember that. Just stick with it, give it time, and eventually you'll get there.
Yes, and always remember our ancestors did not drink from a Coca-Cola spring in the mountains somewhere.
Oh, that's good.
Hello, let's go backwards a bit. Very good. Well, you've told us some great stuff. What other things should we add into our lifestyle and our diet to help with, aging backwards and cutting back on inflammation?
Right, and I think, like I mentioned, make sure you limit the excess carbohydrates in your diet, whether they're healthy or not. You're still triggering insulin, okay? And you're still creating some glycating effect in there. So if you want beautiful skin, you want beautiful everything, you want health, optimal health, all of that is important in terms of reducing that, eventually, the sugar that's going to be circulating in your body. Okay, then you need to add lots and lots of veggies to your diet. Make sure that they're multicolored so you get every color represents something nutritionally different. So all these phytochemicals and nutrients and micronutrients, everything that you're eating in terms of vegetables are going to promote optimal health, and they're really effective in terms of aging well, all right? And then I would say to make sure that you exercise, and it's important. And I know you hear, and I say you have generally our audience, I know you hear how important it is. We all know it is, and we all know it makes us feel and look better. But there's something very important about exercise that a lot of people don't know about, and that is something called telomeres. And telomeres, it's a funny sounding name, but they're just simply caps on the ends of our chromosomes that protect our DNA. So why do we need our DNA protected? Well, because that's what makes us who we are. We want every cell to divide in a healthy, nice way, so that when it divides, it's not ugly looking or jangled with other chromosomes or whatever. So we want long telomeres, and as we age, our telomeres get shorter and shorter and shorter with every cellular division. Okay, and the key is to youthful aging is to absolutely keep your telomeres as long as possible, because the people with the longest telomeres are the leanest, the fittest, the most youthful, and the longest lived people out there, okay? So in order to do that, you need to absolutely exercise, because exercise is one of the very few known ways to literally increase the length of those telomeres. And we have fish oil, we know, as a supplement that can do this, and a couple other supplements. So it's everything you do that it pretty much that revolves around optimal health and creating it and aging better is like a puzzle. They all work together at some point. It dovetails together. Everything does. So you can't do just one thing like drinking water and expect to be healthy. You can't do, just exercise and expect to be healthy. So it's very important to just make sure that you write it down, what you need to do on your list of things you need to do in terms of creating optimal health, learn everything you can about it, and then practice it.
Exactly.
Live it.
Yeah. Master one thing at a time. Introduce new stuff into your life, and it becomes a habit. It's a subconscious thought.
Right.
Very good. I like that you pointed out, because a lot of people think I exercise, so I don't care what I eat, or I'm going to work this off later. I hate hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't work off a bad diet.
That's so true, right?
Yeah, your cells know better.
Yeah, and it's a subconscious thing too. There are studies out there that show that people, when they exercise, subconsciously will eat more because they know they've exercised. But you can't, it's not about the calorie burn. It really is not. It's about the metabolic engine, if you will, that goes on after you exercise. So it's, for example, I suggest and recommend that my clients use the exercise called HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. And this type of exercise is very good in terms of increasing those telomere lengths. So what you want to do is you want to work out really hard, for example, for 30 seconds, and then you go back to a slow to moderate pace for 90 seconds, and then you do this 8 times, and that's it. And you only do it 3 to 4 times a week and no more, because any more you're going to reverse the effects. So what you're doing is you're increasing human growth hormone, you're increasing testosterone, and both hormones very important for keeping a lean, nice figure, okay? You're creating stronger heart power, lung power, you are promoting better blood flow throughout the body, and you are also creating better muscle tone. And there's a lot more. This afterburn, this fire up your fat burn, like the name of my book,
Mm-hmm.
goes on for a good 24 hours. And that's why you don't want to do 2 days in a row, for example. And so, very effective. It's a highly effective way to do this. And strength training is critical. Yeah.
I think I have, and in fact, I know I do. I have a HIT schedule on my phone, and you can do a lot of it
Oh,
from the your home. I mean, a lot of it's like jumping
right.
jacks and core exercises and doing the plank, and then you're doing the little chair sit against the wall, and I have like a great little routine that I do. Then I can do it when I'm traveling and do it everywhere if I
Oh,
can't get
that's
to a gym.
perfect. Oh, I
So
love that, Carrie.
I
Yeah. And
couldn't
that's the
agree
nice thing
more.
about HIT, high intensity interval training, is that you can do it anywhere depending on there are different types of it. So what I described when I said go all out at 30 for 30 seconds and rest for low moderate pace for 90 seconds, that is something you can do on a machine, for example, or you're walking or running. But yes, you can do the jumping jacks, the squats, the push-ups, the pull-ups, all of that can be part of your high-intensity interval training
Yeah,
as
no
well. Yeah.
excuses. You can do it from a hotel room if you're traveling. No
Yes.
excuses.
Right. It's great. I know.
That's good stuff. So you should do it every other day, or I think, did you say 3 to 4 times a week? Was that the
No
number?
more than four.
No more than
Right.
four. Okay.
And it's also important to know that even if you've never done it and you're afraid of the word high intensity, do what you can, but make sure that you're fit enough to do high intensity. First of all, just don't go all out if you've been sedentary all your life. But if you have been working out, then just do what you can as fast as you can, for example, 30 seconds, and then slow to moderate pace for 90 seconds. And you will see the fat burn off. And you complement that with all the other components we talked about here today, you're good to go. Add to your fitness regimen strength training, though. Very important. Strength training is perhaps even more important in terms of weight reduction and optimal health than, for example, aerobic activity.
So when you say, well, we think of lifting weights, we think that's a guy's thing. Us women think,
Right.
well, I'll bulk up. I don't want to bulk up, is the myth in our heads.
Right.
So strength training to you, is that lifting your own body weight, lifting weights? What does that look like?
It's all over body weight. Now if you do training, but if you do, for example, the HIIT and you incorporate the squats and you incorporate the push-ups and the pull-ups and the mountain crawlers and all of that, then you're utilizing your muscles and you're using compound body muscle, which is very healthy as opposed to just machines. So I would opt for that over the machines, but whatever you choose to do, make sure you're absolutely strengthening your muscles.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I do those little back dips off my bathtub.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, there's just so many ways throughout the day. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to, if you don't have time to go to, spend an hour at the gym and cut your calendar, down to that segregated
right.
time. There's no excuses. I mean, there's so many
And I
little
love
things you
that
can
you're
do.
incorporating it in your daily life. How
Yes.
good. Yeah, how great.
Yeah,
Good
busy
tip.
mom. There's no excuses at all, none. But very good, very good. So tell us a little bit about, gosh, we've covered so much today already. I don't know where to go from here. You've got great gifts for our audience today. So let's talk a little bit about that. And of course, the links are included in this body of this email to get to you. So tell us what your offer is today.
Yes, today I'm giving every listener, viewer rather, my best-selling book, Fire Up Your Fat Burn, as a gift, and 3 other books, so that they can start their collection, their healthy life collection, and that will get them absolutely on the road to optimal health and weight loss.
Awesome. That's the key thing is just education and start there.
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, surround yourself with healthy. Make sure that you learn everything you can about it. That way you'll be most successful.
I'm sure you can agree with me. The best clients to coach are educated clients, so I always start them with books.
Right, that is so true. But the client that doesn't know, it's really a gift to see them learn and to
Hmm.
change and to make those changes, so that too is fun. I
It's
like that.
exciting. I love this industry. I feel
I do too.
powerful that I can give
Mhm.
people quality of life. It's a fun
Yeah,
industry to be
it
in.
really is. It's really wonderful to help others feel happier with
Mhm.
themselves, more confidence. You know, I love that's why I am why and why you do what you do. I'm sure is because you see changes in people that are very, very important. Very important, not just for now, but down the road as well.
Have you had any particular client or success stories that you want to share with us? Anything in particular that
Yeah,
stood out?
I have a client that he started with me when he was 406 pounds, and now he's down to 270 pounds. So he is doing remarkably well, and all he's doing is reversing, reducing the inflammation in his body. That low level inflammation that creates weight gain, that fat formation. He is a poster child for optimal health right now. It's amazing. And then I had another recently client who has multiple sclerosis, and she had all sorts of health issues on top of what she was dealing with. And once I got her under the under, in, once I got her to reverse that inflammatory situation going on in her body, she changed completely. Her symptoms were markedly less. She was able to walk again. All of the skin issues she had cleared up. She could think clearly. She was writing again. It was an amazing success story. So, yeah, I encounter a lot of success stories because remember that the core cause of most illness, disease, faster aging, and weight gain is this low level inflammation.
Hmm.
So it's really a gift to see it. It really is.
That is wonderful. I love hearing those kind of success stories. And it doesn't have to be, it starts with the beginning of the interview. You don't have to succumb to what you think your genetics have, pre-positioned you to be. You can take
Right.
charge. You can
And
change things.
it's really that's another gift to know that you have that 80 to 90% control, but it also means you have that responsibility too.
Yes. Yes. Look in the mirror. You got yourself here. Now,
Right.
how do we get you out?
Right.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
Lori, you've been a pleasure. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience today or any other tidbits of hope?
I think I'll just leave our audience with knowing that, for one, that you are inherently worthwhile and that you deserve optimal health. You truly deserve to live in the body you want. And you don't have to live in a body that is unhealthy or that isn't working for you. And I also would like to let you know that you do have choice in life. We all do. And so just make that choice.
I love that. So true, so true, so true. Very good. Yes, must starts with loving yourself. Couldn't agree
Yes.
more. And knowing you're
Yes.
worth it. Worth all the changes. Well, thank you so much, Lori. You've been a pleasure. I appreciate
Thank
all the wealth
you.
of
It's really
knowledge.
been wonderful and really an honor, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Much love to you. Looking forward to working with you in the
Love to
future.
you.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.